All right, KISS Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a KISS-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome to episode 25 of the KissFAQ podcast. I am your host today, Lonnie Weishauer, stlkiss on the board, and I am joined this week by Julian, the admin, drinking a beer, Alex, the BagBoy,
who's not,
with the Pepsi, BYU,
and joining us for the first time in quite a while is Nigel. And Nigel, what is your name on the board? I can't pronounce it.
Nosferatu 1974.
Now, what does that mean?
Nosferatu was the first German vampire movie from 1922. The bald vampire with the rat teeth.
Nice.
Actually, a lot of people think that Gene's early first couple tours, that Skull and Bones outfit that he had on, he was acting all like Lon Chaney, Nosferatu, all that kind of stuff. So I thought it'd be appropriate. I've had that name since I was on the board before you guys shut it down for a while. The reboot.
You mean when Julian had his hissy fit and deleted the bloody thing?
And we all went back to zero. I remember that.
Yep, the reset.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex, why BagBoy? Did you work at a grocery store, or
I did. I'm 25. I'll be 26 in July, so it's coming up 10 years. When I joined the board, it was 2006. So I was pushing carts at a Safeway in Maryland. And so I remember, like, Gene doing the whole thing, you can't have Giraffe Boy and Goat Boy, and I was like, I'll be the Bag Boy. You know, people call me the Coffee Boy, so, you know, we'll put, like, a brown paper bag over my right eye or something.
Well, we all have stories. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Doing good.
Good. Well, before we get started, I read something today online that listening to heavy metal makes you a calmer person. I don't know if you guys saw that today or not. And I think that might be the case, because I got home and I opened up my mail, and inside my mail was my water bill, the bill to fix my roof, which was leaking with all the rain we had last week, which was a delight, and my mortgage payment. And my mortgage payment was double because it said I missed last month's mortgage payment. So I went upstairs, I got online, saw that I made my payment, called the mortgage company, told them this is who I am, this is my account number. You know, this is what it's telling me. I owe you mortgage payments. Just, let me look it up. Well, the last payment we got from you was May the 1st. I'm like, well, it says here I made my payment on June the 1st. This is my confirmation number. This is my check number that I paid online. This is where it was sent to. She goes, well, let me look at that a little further. Let me get a phone number from you, and I'll call you back. It might not be today, but I'll call you back tomorrow for sure, and we'll get to the bottom of this, because obviously it's here somewhere. And I said, you know what? Thank you very much. I know it's not your fault. You get back to me, everything will be fine. And I hung up with her, and I thought, maybe all this heavy metal is making me a calmer person. I don't know.
Did they call you back?
Not yet, so I'm still a little on there. So.
Well, wait for it, because I've had situations where there was a company that was clearly in the wrong. They said, oh, yeah, you're right, no problem, we'll get that fixed right away. Nothing. So until the money is back in your account or credited, don't just assume that it's been fixed, because you can't trust anybody anymore.
You're making me want to go get a beer right now, like Julian.
Lonnie, I'll have a sip for you, but I will say, does metal make you a calmer person? Try driving and listening to Metallica or Motorhead, and I guarantee you it won't make you calmer. It'll make you faster. But
I think it's the same concept as the violent video games that people play. You know, I feel there are some nutcases that can take it a little too far and think, I'm going to go grab a real gun and shoot up somebody. But for the most part, I think that's an aggressive thing that you get out through that kind of stuff. And I feel like the heavy metal and that goes hand in hand with, like, the violent video games. It's a thing that we have to get out of ourselves, and you can either do it creatively or, in real life, where you end up hurting somebody. It's going to come out in somehow,
As Paul Stanley would say, let's have a rock and roll party tonight.
There you go.
Getting a little rowdy. This is a rock concert, not a rumble.
Well, Well, before we get going, I want to thank everyone who listened to the show last week and for tolerating me hosting. And if you didn't like me hosting, well, you're out of luck because guess what? I'm doing a lot of talking again already. So you're kind of stuck with me again this week. But I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank everyone who leaves feedback either on the message board or on YouTube. I really enjoy reading all your guys' comments. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to all of us, and you guys comment, and you can see that everybody's listening to the show. So please keep it up. If you haven't been commenting, leave us some feedback. We all want to know what you guys think of the show, how you think we can improve it. We're a growing podcast, and we are open to suggestions to make it a better show. So please leave us your feedback after you listen to the show. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. Also, this is the last week that you can pledge your money to Ros Radley's Magic KISS Kronicles 1973 to 1983 book. As of today, Alex is leaving us.
I thought Alex fell asleep. He's pulling a Mark.
I had to get a thing for my roommate.
Are you against the book here?
He's quit the show.
As of today.
I'm going fishing.
Wow.
Heyo.
All right, I'm sorry.
As I'm talking about the Ros Radley book.
Timing is everything. Nigel, bada bing.
We got to record our own little promo there where Alex leaves in the middle of the...
That's really good.
All right, I won't talk anymore. Go ahead.
All right.
I'm crying.
Let me get my commercial out of the way, then we can start the show. As of today, $38,619 has been pledged towards the book. We got 1 week to go, so, KISS Army, this is really in your hands. If this is something you want to see happen, and this is a book that you're interested in doing, well, then you have to go out there and pledge. There's a long way to go, but it still can be done. And it's important to remember, if the goal is not met, you aren't out any money. This is a pledge towards the book happening, towards the goal of $100,000. And if you pledge $50, you don't have to buy your book later. You're already buying your book right then and there. So if you want the book to happen, get out there and do it. That's all there is. Get out there and do it if you want this book to happen. This is your last week. You've been waiting and dragging your feet. Now is the time to do it.
Yeah, no one in their right mind, or no one is able to finance the amount of photo licensing that is required to the book, to Ross's vision, in advance. It's just an impossibility for a homegrown book. So, support Ross. He's put up some sample chapters in the last week, some sample pages, some layouts, some really cool stuff for you to check out. You don't believe he's got anything? Go and read what he's got, because he's got some really cool shit for you to see and to read.
I love how the book, he showed the table of contents, and he has it all set up like the 70s cards.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's just
really
a great throwback. I love that.
You can tell that comes from a fan's perspective, because, a book company would have never thought to use that as a template for a book,
No, absolutely. I mean, I was really taken back when I saw the table of contents page the other day. I was like, wow, if that's any indication of what this book has potential of being, I think we're all in for a real treat if everybody gets out there and supports it.
So is he looking into getting Gene and Paul to put their stamp of approval on it?
No.
After it's done?
No.
Okay. Did he go to them at one point and didn't Gene say he was interested in the concept?
Yeah, he went to Gene, and Ross addressed that in the podcast, but Ross made it very clear that he wanted to do it his way without any of the limitations and issues that would be he'd be beholden to Gene and anyone else if he gave over editorial control, and he wouldn't be able to do it his way. That's the key to all this, and why it's a Kickstarter. It's Ross's vision. So
okay.
All right. Well, today's topic is a topic that was actually on the board last week. A member of the board named Ace Furry brought up a thread talking about the bandwagon jumps that KISS has played throughout their career. And we all know the different bandwagon jumps they've done. There's quite a few of them. But we want to talk about which ones we think were maybe the most successful or our favorite bandwagon jumps that they've done. And, we're also going to talk about the ones that weren't so successful and the ones that were kind of corny and the ones we didn't like at all. But that's what's so fun about being a KISS fan is that there are a wide variety of styles and trends that they follow that you might not be a fan of the hair metal in the 80s, but maybe, you're a fan of the grunge of the 90s, or you're a fan of different styles and different looks. And there's just different varieties of KISS fans out there. That's, a really cool thing about being a KISS fan is that we all like different things, but we all like the sum at the core of it all.
It's all KISS to me.
It's all KISS to Nigel. And Nigel, since it's your first time joining us in a while, I'm going to have you lead things off. And let's start on a positive note. So let's talk about the ones that we liked, or which ones you thought were the most successful bandwagon jumps. So, Nigel, let's hear from you.
This might be a little bit controversial, but as far as successful bandwagon jumps, Destroyer, Alice Cooper. They were trying to be Alice. They were going for obviously they got Bob Ezrin, but they were going for that Alice Cooper approach to an album, which is a real departure from the first three, I feel anyway. I mean, Great Expectations and Beth and all that stuff. It's clear to me, you listen to Alice Cooper records from before that time, and it's definitely got that same feel, that same approach to it.
Yeah, there is definitely a different vibe as opposed to the first three albums.
Yeah, I'm just
and
looking.
They didn't even like it at first. Remember, because when it first came out and it started to stall before Beth really hit, Paul was already making apologies for it in the press. He was already saying the next one's going to be back to what we do, not the theatrics sound that the Bob Ezrin producing brought to it. But then obviously when Beth hit, he kind of sidestepped that a little bit and went back and said it was what they intended to do all along. So,
of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can definitely hear a change in the style, and you listen to Destroyer and you listen to like $1 Billion Babies and things Alice was doing, before that, and you can really hear the similarities in production that and they were Alice fans. They went to an Alice show when they were growing as a band and saw him and thought, wow, look at the theatrics he's doing on stage, and really emulated him in a lot of ways. So.
I'm not an Alice fan, so I'm looking at the album that Bob Ezrin had done right before going with KISS, really, and that's Welcome to My Nightmare. Is there a similarity in styles between the two, in that you've got your big rockers, your soft, moody pieces? Because isn't Welcome to My Nightmare like Alice's first solo album and a bit of a conceptual piece,
the Alice Cooper band,
which everything kind of ties together, which you then have in Destroyer. There's a theme running through Destroyer. I think it's been discussed to death how there's so many little bits and pieces that tie together there, from the beginning and the audio, the oral introduction, the newscasting, kind of like the cinematographic music, really, right through the ending, the rock and roll demons.
Well, they also explore the characters. The first three albums really didn't explore Gene as the demon or Paul as the rock. Well, I mean, they kind of do, but like the Alice Cooper approach, Bob Ezrin was like, let's get into these characters that you're portraying. Let's write songs from their perspective, which was a good thing in Destroyer. By the time we get to Sonic Boom and Monster, it's a little played out. You can't write God of Thunder over and over and over again. But we'll get to that later.
Unless you're AC/DC.
Oh, yeah. They've been quite, yeah. And if that's the case, you'll get on the Grammys. You'll open the Grammys to it.
They're quite successful using the same formula over and over again. So, well, that's a really good one. Actually. Alex, what about you? What's a bandwagon jump for you?
Can I say KISS jumped on the bandwagon of KISS's Bandwagon with Alive 2 and the super edits and stuff, because you had KISS Alive, and clearly there was some studio magic done, and then by the time you got to Alive 2, there was some studio magic done, and then when you get to Alive 3, there was some studio magic done, and then we get the amazing, the Millennium Concert, the original Live 4, with some more studio magic done at the Bandwagon, in my opinion.
does it go before it's not studio magic on a live recording? It's just a studio recording with a live audience just placed over it. When does it, cross that line? Because that's what I think. Wasn't Alive 3 almost that too for a lot of it? Because that doesn't sound, Alive 3 doesn't sound anything like the actual shows sounded to me.
Yeah, because that 92 Detroit show sounds, that you could watch on Kissology 3 sounds a whole lot better than what happened with Kissology 3. Oh, I mean, with Kiss Alive 3.
Yeah, it's not a good representation of what the band, in my opinion, Alive 3 isn't a good representation of what the band sounded like in that era. I mean, especially you listen to those club shows and you listen to, there's quite a few shows out there from that Revenge Arena tour of what the band sounded like, and what we end up with on Alive 3 is not.
And a lot of good stuff missing.
Opinion. Yeah, like Parasite and War Machine are two standards that were in the set list. And War Machine was a big song in the set, with the Statue of Liberty's face crumbling and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's missing a second CD, that album.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, I didn't get to see that tour. I told that story here before. I'm still bitter about it, but
yeah, if you want to listen to Alive 3, I say just put on the Kissology show and just turn off the TV and listen to the audio. Because I don't really listen to Alive 2 live portion or Alive 3 that much. If I want to listen to that, I'll just put on the videos. Because I don't think it's a real good representation of it, especially when you have the stuff that was recorded at soundcheck and all. It doesn't sound real. It sounds fabricated. Whereas Alive sounds real, even though it's all fabricated in some portions. They just went a little too far.
Yeah, I think that's a great example, Alex, of them jumping on the bandwagon. Well, we did some edits on Alive. Well, maybe we can do some more edits on Alive too, and throw out Tomorrow and Tonight. We all know when they never even played that, and they just kind of got caught up with themselves that this worked before. We can make it work even better this time. Of jumping with that line of thinking. So, Julian, what about? So, is that a good example to you, Alex, or a bad example?
I think it's. I think I gotta say it's bad. At least for me. I mean, it's cool because we got something from Kiss, and how us Kiss fans are. They can repackage a compilation, and we'll go out there and buy it just because it might have one cool new photo in there. But at the same time, I'd rather Kiss, of course, not do with the Love Gun Deluxe, but just take that audio from like that Largo '77 show and put that on it. Had that been like an Alive 2 show, or even the audio from that Budokan. The Budokan Hall show, have that as an audio. I would have liked that, I don't know, I like the nitty gritty, I don't mind having a live CD and having them mess up the lyrics and stuff. That's okay.
Right, but we don't, but they don't want to put out product. The Rock and Roll Party in Japan, the Budokan show that you refer to, there's multiple mixed versions of that, and that is an insane, I'd listen to that. I hate Alive 2, by the way. I am not a fan of Alive 2 by any. The only thing I like about Alive 2 is the misprint LP copy. That's all. I don't listen to that frickin' show. I don't like it.
You don't like Side 4?
Side 4 is awesome. At least Rocket Ride is.
The only track I keep from Alive 2, I said it before, is I Stole Your Love. And I'm telling you guys, when you guys get off tonight, whenever you guys listen to this, go put I Stole Your Love. Go. Okay, Andrew. Go put I Stole Your Love from the Love Gun. I swear there's this like beep that you hear on it and stuff, and at least it bothers me, so I have the Alive 2 version on my phone.
When you put like You Wanted the Best on, that's a really good way to really A/B the production difference between Alive and Alive 2, because Alive 2's got this real like thin audience sound. Like it sounds like it's just been placed right over it, instead of if the first Alive was immersing yourself in the crowd. This one just sounds like a real tinny sound. It's been placed over the actual music, and it's really obvious, especially when you play something from Alive and then Alive 2 right afterwards. It's much more obvious.
Yeah, Alive you have the King. Alive 2's the Joker. It's really a piss poor facsimile of what had been done before, without half the attention to detail and I think effort I mean, obviously they were doing the fourth side, and I gotta say, most of that shit's throwaway. Any way you want, whatever. I mean, that's just come on.
It is.
But Larger Than Life and Rocket Ride. Rocket Ride is the only thing worth a damn on that fourth side. Larger Than Life's the only kind of thing that kind of measures up anywhere near. But everything
and
else.
Told Ace that wasn't good enough for Love Gun.
Yeah, well, they knew what they were going to be doing next.
Yeah. I will say I'll give this with the live to the Gatefold. The Gatefold is magnificent.
Beautiful pictures.
No, packaging on it is incredible.
Like so many things Kiss, the packaging's better than the contents.
The cover was somebody did a Photoshop of the Alive 2. The 2 at the bottom moved into the middle of the image instead of being off to the side. And when you look at we're so used to the covers as they are, but when I looked at that, I said, you know what? That actually looks more aesthetically pleasing. I'm surprised they didn't do it that way. They put 2 photos on one side and then 2 photos on the other, and they had the Roman numeral 2 right in the middle. I said, you know what? If I was working for Casablanca in 77, I would have looked at that and said, that looks better. But it's interesting. We're so used to those album covers the way they are. They're so perfect in our eyes. But when you really look at them, like Peter's makeup on Dynasty is uneven, and the girl on the Love Gun cover is like missing her body on the painting because Ken Kelly didn't have time to finish the painting.
Well,
things we never even noticed.
There were 10 copies of the girl, so one of them not being perfect was. They're all the same girl.
Things that you don't notice until 30 years later, and you actually go, oh, you're right. But for so many years, you're so astounded by these covers, you don't find any faults with them. Nowadays, think of it this way: when Sonic Boom came out, everybody found fault with every little thing about it. The Monster cover came out, everybody found fault with it. But back in the 70s and 80s, you were just so astounded to have another Kiss cover in your hand.
You're just taken up with it.
Right, but you have to remember, Kiss fans have become senile. The band's so old. Every Kiss fan's like, get off my lawn. They'll always be, it's like politics. They'll always be 50% grumpy and 50% grumpy about the people who are being grumpy. So let's get back to bandwagons, right, Lonnie?
All right, let's get back to you, Julian. It's your turn.
Oh, okay. Well, I only really came up with one bandwagon, and it's really the band. Everything about the band is jumping on a bandwagon, and we go back to 1972, formation of the band. They jump on Slade's bandwagon. They jump on Alice Cooper's bandwagon. They jump on Magic Tramp's bandwagon and steal Satan's fire breathing. And The Who. They jumped on every single bandwagon that there was in 1973. And
Brown, right?
Yeah, well, not even that, because directly in New York City, in the glam scene, were the Magic Tramps. And Satan, the fire-eating, stage guy who the band taught how to sing. So he was just a gimmick on stage. And then, of course, there's Arthur Brown, which goes back further. But directly in New York is the Tramps. The New York Dolls in terms of visuals. Slade, short, concise, catchy songs. So that's a bandwagon. The Sweet. All the British bands that no one was listening to in frickin' America. Slade had, 13 number 1 or top 2 hits in 72, 73? America couldn't have given a damn, but, for Anglophiles like Paul Stanley would have known about Naughty and The Gang and all those catchy hits, which were dumb rock and roll. There was nothing smart about, any of the stuff Slade did in that time. So, it's kind of like the blueprint that Kiss took. They hopped on that. We're going to do dumb, catchy songs. Visually, they hopped on Ziggy. They hopped on Alice Cooper. Visually on the Dolls. And again, the Tramps. Showmanship. Alice Cooper. Well, they're basically 4 Alice Coopers.
We're not saying that dumb rock and roll is bad either, because what's Jerry Lee Lewis and
Elvis
total
and Big Bopper.
Richard.
Big Bopper, Little Richard, any of it. It doesn't, we don't want to be yes. It's got its place. So does King Crimson, any of that, the more intellectual, progressive kind of music. It has its place. A good, dumb rock and roll song that makes you forget about your troubles, I'd say hop on that frickin' bandwagon right away because, you forget about it. You know, you're putting on a show. You're playing short songs that don't go into 18 or 25 minutes, that you lose track of where you are in the song, so you kind of start over in the middle and amble on somewhere else. That's a great bandwagon to be on. You know, so they combined all of these bandwagons and created KISS. You know, it's like the USA, the melting pot of the world. Well, KISS is the melting pot of music in so many senses that they hopped on it all at one time just to found the band. So that's kind of the bandwagon that I think starts it all. That they were never.
The band themselves aren't nothing but a hodgepodge of four guys from completely different perspectives and backgrounds too.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And there's nothing original about them whatsoever, apart from what they actually did with the ingredients. So you can give a basket full of ingredients to Gordon Ramsay, and you can give it to your wife, and they're both going to cook completely different things, and one may be better than the other. So, you know, to use a very poor Paul Stanley analogy, you know, doesn't really matter.
No, that's a great example that they started off and they jumped on what was popular at the time. And, you know, a lot of bands are guilty of that too. I mean, take of all the hair metal bands in the 80s, you know, they were jumping on that bandwagon too. But you jump on what's popular at the time, and that's what, you know, they mixed together, and that's what they came up with.
Yeah, how many bands out there are truly original? The Beatles, were they original? Hell no. Led Zeppelin, were they original? No. They had Delta Bluesmen write all their songs for them, right?
Exactly.
Whether they credited them or not. The Rolling Stones, they knew what they wanted to be. It wasn't original. The Who, not original. Nickelback, not original. So...
you throw everything into a blender, and you add your own little personality traits that you're probably not even that aware of that make it different. And then if that's gold, you know, it takes off.
Very rarely, though, will you get someone who comes out of left field with something completely new and original, and usually that person who does is not the one who makes bank on it. So...
And, you know, Paul Stanley says in one of the videos, we didn't want to be a second-class Dolls, we wanted to be a first-class KISS. And they took what the Dolls and bands like that were doing and kind of made it their own in what was popular at the time.
Yeah, and look what happened to the Dolls. What the hell did the Dolls do? The Dolls did nothing. They ended up wearing red latex, being managed by Malcolm McLaren. Arthur Kane quits and goes and plays with Blackie Lawless. Johansson does... What the hell does he do for most of the 70s? He tries to have a solo career. I mean...
Buster Poindexter.
Yeah, and later Buster, and then they get back together. You know, what did that band do? Not a whole hell of a lot. Did they record one seminal album? Yeah, but what is it compared to, say, the W KISS album? I would say the Dolls album is pretty freaking mediocre compared to KISS's debut. So KISS actually had something to back it up with. They put in the work, you know, taking all those elements. So yeah, they hopped on the right bandwagons. They discarded
the work ethic.
Yeah, with work ethic.
KISS and the Dolls, yeah.
No, absolutely.
And a bit of luck, because Bill Aucoin, Neil Bogart, I mean, they had a label that was behind them and was willing to, you know, go into debt and, you know, bet the bank on them. Bill Aucoin, without whom there would be no KISS, kept them on the road. So
what do you think Bill Aucoin saw when he saw KISS, that if he looked at the New York Dolls, had went, no, this isn't good. KISS is what we're going to bank on. Because if at that time, KISS was just kind of a hodgepodge of everything that was already in the New York scene, what made them stand out to the point that Bill Aucoin was willing to take a chance on them, but none of the other groups?
They weren't popular yet, is my guess. Bill saw something that he could mold. He had Sean Delaney, his partner at the time. He saw something that he could work with. You know, so he saw an element there. The New York Dolls were already well and truly cemented in what they were doing. He sees something that's raw. He sees possibilities. I mean, I would say Bill's as much the artist as the members of KISS.
And he can hear those changes if he listen to the Daisy Show that circulates on YouTube until now. I mean, go listen to Firehouse, you know, from that show, and then go listen to the KISS Alive version. You can see the complete changes and stuff.
they condensed it really well. Although I love the longer versions of that. Hearing that for the first time, a song you've heard all your life, there's like Nothing to Lose. There's an extra verse in there, and it blows your mind. It's like hearing a song you've heard your whole life, but a new verse inserted into it. I love that stuff, but I can see why they dumped it, because the songs they didn't need to be Pink Floyd and go on for 10 minutes.
Yeah, you didn't need that fourth verse in 100,000 Years either. So, I mean, Sean and his showmanship and the choreography, Bill and his TV, his artistic background, they were able to keep them pointed on the right bandwagon and create their own kind of.
And I think Bill saw something that he could mold and put on television with the 4 characters. It was unique enough to him. It was more unique than anything else that was going on at the time, with the characters and with the songs and what they were doing. That it wasn't the Dolls. It was something like the Dolls, but it was different at the same time. It was something he could make his own. So. Well, my bandwagon jump, at least my first one, it's not going to be much surprise to anyone listening. My favorite KISS bandwagon jump is 1992's Revenge. And Julian, I knew you were going to do that.
Jeez. Lonnie, I knew you were going to do that.
Lonnie, this isn't the most underrated KISS album episode. We did that already.
Yeah, I know, and you guys burned me there too. But my favorite bandwagon jump is KISS finally getting it right on what they were supposed to look like with the makeup off. And I'm going to get killed by Julian. I'm going to get killed by the guy who keeps... Yeah,
you weren't feeling that?
Wrong cover, jackass.
When did you get the Golden Girls on DVD?
But no, I'm going to get killed by you guys and the guy who keeps bringing up the thread on the board. It says Revenge is the most overrated KISS album, or whatever the thread's called. But for me anyway, it was my favorite bandwagon jump, because I, watching MTV in the 80s and seeing KISS look kind of different at the time and kind of silly sometimes, that they rode off the bandwagon they jumped on was Metallica was running high with the success they had of the Black Album. We can talk about the Black Album, that's not for this show. But Metallica became mainstream, and they were seeing the success that a band like that could have, just wearing black and looking kind of tough and playing heavier songs. And I think, KISS went in that direction that, maybe this is a direction for us to go in. We're kind of fooling around here with what we've been doing in the 80s, and, we got a new drummer. We can go with a heavier direction. And we're in the wrong era. And they moved away from poppy 80s Bon Jovi chasing, hairband chasing, and went into a heavier, darker image, like the success of like a Metallica or Megadeth was having at the time. So and it did it bring a lot of album sales? No. Did it mean huge tour attendance? Well, no. We've seen the attendance for the Revenge tour. But for me, it was my favorite bandwagon jump, because it saw KISS. It made me proud to be a KISS fan in 1992. That look at these guys; they're cool looking. They don't look so goofy anymore. I could hold that up next to my friend who liked Metallica or my friends who liked Megadeth. So this is just as cool. I don't care what you guys think. You think that's really heavy and dark. Well, so is this. Maybe some of the lyrics aren't as heavy and dark, but their image finally got to me the way that it should have been.
So KISS.
I'm ready for another Gene lead track on a KISS album. If they do another one, I doubt it's going to happen when Paul's producing. But I would love another first track to be Gene's, because it hasn't happened since Revenge, right?
Carnival Souls.
Oh, okay, that's right. 8,
but still, it's been 18 years. So
Carnival.
That's the thing that drives you nuts with that as a kid.
It's the first song, Carnival Souls.
Yeah. Pain is what I am.
Oh, okay.
On the cruise, someone asked what songs they have never done live that they'd like to do, and Gene said he'd like to do Hate, and Eric goes something like, "Do you remember how to play it?" And Gene's like, "Nope."
That'd be cool for them to do on that electric show.
Yeah.
they're doing Unmasked.
I mean, Eric should really have asked Gene if he was in the studio when it was recorded, you know.
He was drawing up contracts.
Yeah, Bruce playing bass, you know. Gene, were you even there?
But that's the thing, since we're talking about bandwagon jumps, it's like, the really frustrating thing about that is KISS always jumped on the bandwagon about 2 years too late. You know, imagine if Revenge had come out in 1990. Imagine if Creatures had come out in 1980. You know, it's like they finally figure out what they need to do, but it's a little too late to really make the impact that it could have if they'd done it a couple of years earlier.
Yeah, but that's always been the weakness with KISS, that they're usually a day late and $1 short. I mean, Revenge, to me, always, you know, smelled of them trying to be Guns N' Roses, who were trying to be Zodiac Mind Warp with the biker rock look, you know, because Guns N' Roses ditched the glam shit, you know, for Zodi's look. You know, and then KISS comes along and does it. All the glam bands were dropping it and going back into leather. Motley Crue did it with Feel Good. You know, so there was nothing original whatsoever about KISS doing it. That the material on Revenge is so juvenilely weak that even as a 20-something-year-old, I found it pathetic. While it's musically exquisite, you know, it's kind of a mixed bag of bandwagons to be on. It's good in the sense that they at least look not as ridiculous as they had in the 80s, perhaps. Gene doesn't look like someone's demented aunt. But it's musically not a good bandwagon, as far as I'm concerned. There's a couple of really great tracks on there, but I'm sorry, unholy as shit.
All right. Got that out of the way.
That's a strong statement there.
I knew I was gonna hear it, so I was just like, you know what? Just let him have his piece because I know he's gonna say that.
Well, you know, Vinny wrote the solo for Unholy. Remember that convention video where
don't tell Bruce that.
Bruce was talking about how pissed off he was because he took credit for writing the solo, saying, we worked on that. We, as in Vinny and Bruce. And Bruce is like, he had nothing to do with that solo. It's very rare you see Bruce Kulick get mad about anything, but I enjoy that because it shows how much pride he took in that particular guitar solo and how pissed off he was that somebody else is trying to claim credit for it.
Vinny's a douche.
He's presumed dead now, I think, according to that.
He saw him missing or something I saw this week.
Well,
hasn't he been missing since for the last?
Yeah, that was a fake news site. I think it would be more believable that he'd accidentally sealed himself in Tupperware with a ball gag and expired.
He should jump on the Caitlyn Jenner bandwagon and come out as a woman. That would get him back into the media.
I thought he already did that.
Careful, you're gonna get hate mail from Meredith.
All right, Nigel, you got another bandwagon jump?
Well, the obvious one's Carnival of Souls, if we're sticking to the 90s. That's just flat out, if you thought Revenge was attempt at jumping on something, Carnival of Souls, they're not even trying to hide it at that point.
No, they're definitely going for the Alice in Chains. And they've even made that comparison. You hear that all the time when you talk about Carnival of Souls. They're really going for an Alice in Chains type of sound, and you know, and you can, depending on your taste of what you think about Carnival of Souls, you know, some people like it, and I think there's some good tracks on there. Alex seems to care for it. I'm a little worried about him right now, and you know, there's some good tracks on there, but you can definitely see that they were jumping on the bandwagon of the grunge movement. And again, even if it would have came out in the fall of '97, but even if it would have came out, say, in the spring of '96, they recorded in, you know, around Christmas time in '95, it still would have been a couple years late, just like the other ones we were talking about. You know, and you say that, I mean, because when I saw KISS on their reunion tour, Alice in Chains was opening for KISS in St. Louis, and it was the second to last show Alice in Chains ever played with the old lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, Alice in Chains was really kind of almost done by that point.
Well, grunge was basically done. Even Pearl Jam, they had transitioned out of what might have been considered the grunge sound, and just the unpopular bands like the Melvins kept doing what might be considered grunge or alternative. So, I mean, but what is a good song on Carnival of Souls? I mean, I liked Master and Slave at the time. I thought Jungle was better when Deep Purple recorded it. There's I like Paul's touching ballad to his son, and Gene's stuff on there. Actually, I'll say is better than on Revenge. Childhood's End is great. I confess. But, this isn't a Carnival of Souls episode, and Toby Wright's done a fantastic podcast, about the guts of that album, which I still have to listen to. So.
I feel like that album's more real as far as where Gene and Paul were in 1995 than Revenge. Because Revenge, they were writing formula. Carnival of Souls, Paul has that song for his son. Gene has the Seduction of the Innocent. It may be conforming to a mold of its own, but I feel like that and stuff like on Psycho Circus, We Are One, and all that, I feel like that's more KISS in the 90s than what they would do in like Sonic Boom and Monster, which is let's rewrite the 70s songs, which to me comes off as really formula, fake. No, I believe the songs on Carnival of Souls and Psycho Circus. Maybe I shouldn't, but I believe those songs as being more real than the stuff they would do with the other lineup later on.
Well, I think there definitely was a formula to Revenge with Ezrin at the helm producing, and they had a certain direction they definitely wanted to go in. And yeah, I can see your point that Carnival of Souls, although it is a grunge, they were going for the grunge type of sound. I think what they brought into the studio was much more honest for where they were in their lives at the time, as opposed to take it off when you're in your 40s. But not that there's but that's just the demographic they were going after in '92. And they were going after the 12-year-old, and I was 12 years old, and it was perfect.
And hey, it's 2015, so 65 is the new 40, right? So they can get away with singing it.
Why do you think it took so long for KISS to jump on bandwagons? Why were they always so late in everything that they did?
Safety.
You can see the success, and they're going to jump on it.
Yeah, they didn't want to jump on a bandwagon that didn't last. They wanted.
When did they start? When did they become the people that led the parade to the people that followed the parade? Dynasty?
76, I think. And that would have been my next pick, is Rock and Roll Over. Obviously it's my favorite album, but I look at what Aerosmith was doing and getting big with 76. They had done Toys in the Attic. They had done Rocks, which are just basic rock and roll albums through and through. Ted Nugent, Free For All, and I can't remember his 76 album. But, the big rock bands that were emerging in the mid-70s, the Stadium Rock, were just doing solid rock albums. Montrose, again, there's albums obviously 73. Just doing a through-and-through rock album is kind of a bandwagon, because they're copying the stuff in Styx's albums, in that period. Nothing particularly challenging. They're all very verse, chorus, verse. They all have the one softer track. I mean, Aerosmith, You See Me Crying, shit like that. They're all very formulaic in that you've got one guy token vocal by someone else on an album. So, right from the get-go.
How is Rock and Roll Over that different from the first KISS album? Because, isn't that kind of what they started off with doing? They kind of took a departure on Destroyer, then they went back to kind of the sound that made them who they were. And then Love Gun, you could even argue, is more poppy, which would head towards the solo albums and then head towards Dynasty. So it's all a conveyor belt. But I always saw Rock and Roll Over as channeling back to the first 3 records.
Yeah, I do as well, but when you throw in Hard Luck Woman, your ballad, that changes the dynamic overall.
Yeah.
They definitely had the form. There definitely was a formula for Rock and Roll Over with throwing in the ballad, but also getting back to. I can see both your points. Getting back to more basics, but at the same time seeing the success of what other bands are having by 76 of this is the direction we need to go. We don't need to stick with the formula of Destroyer. That this is we need to see what other bands like Aerosmith.
Yeah, we don't need to experiment. Let Rush do that.
Exactly.
But also, didn't they start working on Rock and Roll Over before Destroyer became a hit? They kind of saw they saw Destroyer starting to plummet, and they said, we got to get back into the studio and do something like we're used to doing. And then that's when Beth kind of hit, and then they changed their direction. But Rock and Roll Over was kind of an immediate knee-jerk reaction to the initial response to Destroyer, which a lot of the fans didn't like.
Yeah, the immediate knee-jerk was before it was even released. Them wanting to call in Jack Douglas to remix it. They were frightened to death of what they had created. So, I mean, Beth comes out in September. They're not in the studio yet. They're scheduled they're out on tour, so they don't have a schedule into the studio. They know they're going in to do an album, and if you look at the material, that's 75, 76 material from Gene. That's older stuff from Peter, and God knows Paul's, I Want You, it's probably all pretty recent for him because, as he says, he hates recycling stuff, and he, just really writes for the occasion until he's got what he likes. So I don't think that's really the case, that's a knee-jerk. Because they were so scheduled into their 2 albums a year cycle that it was so far in advance scheduled that, yeah, they may have said, we're going to make this one ballsy, or we're not having Ezrin back, we want Kramer. But that's as much of a knee-jerk as I think they get out of that. And I'm just trying to look up here, when Rocks came out. And, of course, my internet's acting up. So that came out in May 76. So, yeah, that's enough time for them to kind of hop on that bandwagon, that I'm trying to suggest exists, in that they're seeing.
I've even heard that. I've even read that they said that Hotter Than Hell was them trying to be Black Sabbath. The production was them trying to copy that formula, and I don't know how. I can hear it, but I don't know if that's more or less just the production style or the. I don't think the songs were Black Sabbath-y type songs. Maybe Parasite.
I think the production is crap.
yeah. It sounds gloomy and doomy, and it sounds like Black Sabbath. That's pretty unkind to Sabbath production.
One bandwagon jump that KISS didn't do, which I was surprised they didn't do, was the whole Guitar Hero bandwagon jump. Aerosmith had their own Guitar Hero. The Beatles had their own. I think Beatles had Rock Band or something. I was really surprised by KISS that they did not, especially being the bandwagon jumpers that they are, they did not hop on that at its peak in popularity. Because you really could, and if they had done it right, they really could have done it actually really cool. With you start off with songs off the first album, and you're playing in clubs. And you're playing in the old outfits, and the bigger you get, the bigger stadiums, your bigger venues you're playing, and you can go through the progression with the outfits that, from the Destroyer tour to the Love Gun tour to the Dynasty tour, and even into the 80s. And it really could have done that really cool and really made it something very unique, especially being KISS in a video game. I was really shocked. I was really surprised at that. And I never even heard, people were suggesting it at the time that, KISS has got to be the next one to do it, KISS has got to be the next one to do it. And they never did. And I'm really surprised by that. But as much of bandwagon jumpers as they are, that they never did that. And maybe they tried to do that. I mean, and, there's probably a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on that, KISS and their licensing fees maybe wanted more money than the video games were willing to give them. But
same reason why they never been on The Simpsons. Gene tried to negotiate a deal, and he wanted way more than the Simpsons people wanted, and he wanted to cut. They wanted to do Simpsons KISS merchandise, kind of like the Family Guy thing they're doing now. And Gene wanted so much of the cut that the Simpsons said, "No, we're not going to do that because we can't make money on that." So I would imagine the Guitar Hero thing was a similar situation.
Yeah, I would think so, because that really just kind of, to me, the Guitar Hero KISS, and you could have we've seen like the act, and I think it might have been somewhat in the works, because there is like an Axe bass, like Guitar Hero type controller even too. But I mean, you could have done that with the Axe, with a PS10, with an Ace Frehley Les Paul. It really could have been, very, very unique. And
can you imagine going to Best Buy? Like the Best Buy version includes you can unlock Mark St. John. You buy it at Walmart. You can unlock Anton Fig, all these really weird bandit makeup on Paul.
There you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, that would have been badass. And to me, I just couldn't believe that never happened. And
you never know; it might be coming out next year.
Yeah, they're kind of late to the party on Bandwagon, so maybe it's still more.
Or what about Rockstar? I mean, every Rockstar in Excess or whatever it was, all those live music things, which were like talent shows. They never did any of those really.
Well, KISS 2.0.
Yeah,
that was the rumor for a while. Yeah.
But I mean, even when half of these shows are now ending, and the reality shows of that era are all coming to an end because the public's attention have gone. Who would care about KISS 2.0 on TV now? It's just everything's past its sell-by date. The shows are past its sell-by date. The band may well be in the public eye, in the U.S. at least, past its sell-by date. That they may now have finally negotiated it, but there's no audience.
Didn't Family Jewels run for longer and was considered more successful than the Osbournes? As far as the long haul is concerned, I think the Family Jewels show lasted a lot longer.
But that's a bandwagon jump, though, too, obviously. As soon as Gene saw Ozzy and his family on TV, Gene wanted him. He couldn't allow that to happen, that Ozzy would be the only one to do that.
How to make a multi-year show out of people who are essentially boring. I mean, when you compare them to the Osbournes, I'm sorry, Dysfunctional is more interesting than, Ozzy falling over. It's like throwing a football in someone's nuts. It's like more interesting than watching Gene and his family so decaffeinated.
But us KISS fans, we could watch Gene sitting at a coffee table and signing 1,000 posters.
No.
There are people among us that could sit and watch him just sit there and do nothing for an hour, or him conducting business quietly in his office. There's people that would watch that, and I feel Family Jewels has its ups and its downs. There are definitely some episodes. It got more scripted as it went on. As far as all that marriage and all that, I mean, it was scripted from the beginning, but it even seemed fake towards the end. It seemed like it was just straight up.
You didn't find Bull Seaman a plausible plot line?
I gotta say
these kind of things happen.
I gotta tell you the funniest thing that happens here, at least in New Mexico, people find out I like KISS and stuff, and they go, "Oh, I don't like KISS, but I really like that Family Jewels show. Did you watch it?" And I was always like, "I like KISS, but I didn't watch the show." And so
I will tell you, I think Family Jewels was one of the big things that brought KISS back, because there was that lull there from 2002, 2001 to 2005, 2006, where you didn't know what was going on with the band. And Sonic Boom and the re-records, they did a big tour in 2008. So many people, I'm sure, went to those shows because of Family Jewels, and I think that brought the KISS name back, whether Paul Stanley wants to admit it or not. That really did help bring their stature back.
I agree with that. That as much as I don't care for the show, it did a lot for the band in bringing them back into a public eye, that people were aware of them, that they were still around, and that they still existed. And when KISS went on tour and did their first proper American tour since Rock the Nation in the fall of 2009, it was very successful, and people had their doubts about it, about how successful the tour would be, because they hadn't toured America in quite some time. And when they did tour America the last time, it was with Tommy and Eric for the first time, and people were kind of skeptical about that still. And I think the attendance on that fall of 2009 tour really surprised a lot of people. And much as I don't care for the show, I think Family Jewels played a large role in the success of bringing KISS back into the public eye. So.
Agreed.
How many people said, my grandmother watches Family Jewels. You know, he hit all markets. He hit the kids, you know, the KISS fans, obviously. But when, you know, your grandma's watching Family Jewels, you know they did something right. Because how would she know about KISS outside of that?
It hits all these, like, yuppies up here at BYU, Idaho that are like, you know, oh my goodness, they're evil. And they watch this show. So you got all the people that you want to be interested in KISS checking out Jules. So definitely work. I got another bandwagon. Are you
Go
ready?
ahead.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right. Now, this one, I don't know how much to stretch, but I feel like, and I'm glad they did it. I think everybody's happy they did it. But the reunion tour, it was kind of like, I feel like there was a little bit of a handful of bands at the time kind of getting it back together in the 90s, you know, starting with the late 80s, some of those bands that broke up in the 70s, and then going into the 90s of like, oh, it's been 10 plus years, let's get back together and go out there and do a reunion tour. And of course, obviously, that was a great bandwagon, for everybody who got to see the reunion tour and stuff, but I definitely feel they did jump on that bandwagon push too.
So they were way too late, because if you remember, when did these bands getting back together, the ones that were big in the 70s?
Well,
1984, Aerosmith.
I see Styx. These Styx got back together in '95, and they did that Return to the Paradise.
Okay, bands that actually count.
But KISS never actually broke up. They kept going. It was Aerosmith actually called it quits for a while, right?
No, they kept going.
They kept going.
They did keep going?
Yeah, I mean, they brought in, who came in first, Crespo or, what the hell's his name?
I'm not good on my nerves.
Or the other guy. So
Rockin' a Hard Place
yeah,
album, where they all look like Asylum.
Yeah, 82, they put Rockin' a Hard Place out.
Yeah.
83, 84, obviously, Black and Blue tours with them. So, they get back together with Joe. He put out his 3 solo albums. Rick DeFay is the other guitarist. They get back together, and they don't immediately, they feel it through. They do the little Back in the Saddle tour in 84, and that's when Black and Blue opens for them. And then, of course, they do Done with Mirrors, so low-key album that, some people think's mediocre. I say it's the last real Aerosmith album, and everything after that sucks balls. That's really the start. That's your big 70s act getting back together, and that's the only one that's really comparable with KISS. Styx is many levels above KISS, commercially, in terms of the AOR, the output that they had and the popularity, because they were pretty frickin' mega compared to KISS's sales. Simple as that. So they're on a different kind of plane of existence. So in 96, who do we have getting back together? Sex Pistols.
But you know who else you had to get back together, who I saw in 96?
Who?
Was Black Sabbath. I saw Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
All 4 original members in 96 also.
That's true.
So I'll give you that, Alex.
Didn't the Eagles have a really big resurgence too? The Eagles at that point?
And the Eagles is one too.
Yeah.
I actually wrote a paper about this in college. About KISS in college. And this was my opening statement, was about bands getting
We've all done it, yeah.
Come on.
But there was also a resurgence of the 70s culture in the 90s, too.
You had the Eagles getting back together. You had Black Sabbath.
Jimmy
Page and Plant toured together in 95. Page and Plant toured together in 95. You had quite a few bands like that doing that in that mid-90s frame that, maybe there is something here that we can still cash in on. And to Alex's point, I think that he brings up a good point about getting back, the reunion tour getting back.
When did the Eagles get back together? Because that's probably the one that made Gene's eyeballs go ka-ching.
Yeah, there's. Come on, Julian, you get accused of surfing the internet on the show. You can look that up.
If hell, I know it was the Hell Freeze. Wasn't it the Hell Freezes Over tour or something like that? So.
Hell Freezes Over.
Yeah, Hell Freezes Over tour. Exactly
94. Yep.
Well, that reunion, they had nothing else. It was perfect timing. Because Gene and Paul, Carnival of Souls, that was kind of their last-ditch effort to stay modern. And imagine if that had come out and there was no reunion tour. That would have probably been the end of KISS, because I can't imagine them touring for that record.
No, and let's be honest too. The summer of '95, they're playing in hotel ballrooms at the time.
Yeah.
They're not playing in arenas or anything like that. I mean, the reunion tour was, what they had left. It was the ace card they were holding on to, for lack of a better term. That this is it's this or bust at this point, because we know that we don't have much left in the tank.
What would you say, since Hot in the Shade, that was kind of the first inklings they had of doing a reunion show, because they tried to get Ace to do a makeup show with Eric Carr, if I recall, and Ace didn't have really any interest in it at that time. That's when they went to that, what was it, Stone Pony? Maybe I'm thinking of something else. There's pictures of Fraley's Comet playing, and Gene and Paul come up on stage, and they played Deuce.
Yeah, that's 88. That's the Limelight, I think.
Limelight, yeah. They were kind of dropping hints there, and then they did the Kiss My Ass, which was classic Kiss.
And they put the makeup back on, and
the letter, the note, little note to Ace and Peter, that you could tell it. The wheels were definitely spinning in their minds by that point.
And I never saw that, because the Kiss My Ass CD I got had a black insert tray, and I remember I had to take out the black insert tray underneath, and there was the letter to Peter and Ace. But I got the CD used, so maybe they put a different case on it. But I remember thinking, mine doesn't have that, and I opened it up, and I'm like, well, it's got nothing here, and I took the thing out, and there it was underneath, so it's a cool thing.
All right. Any other bandwagon jumps, guys, you guys want to talk about?
Bon Jovi?
The Elder.
The Elder's definitely their answer to Pink Floyd and other acts like that.
No, it isn't. It's not their answer to anything. That's
fine.
That's like polluting. Pink Floyd is quality and the Elder isn't.
Would you guys say that Kiss My Ass was a bandwagon thing with?
Oh yeah,
the
stuff like that was going on quite a bit.
The convention tour was a bandwagon because they saw what the fans were doing, and they said, "Well, we can do that." And then they sent cease and desist letters to all the other fan conventions.
Okay, but are we confusing bandwagon jumping with money grabbing?
They go hand in hand. Yeah. They jump on bandwagons because they want to make that money.
We talk about the bandwagon jumps we enjoyed, but I got a bandwagon jump that was not one of my favorites and was not a very successful bandwagon jump.
Does it include a blue thong?
It does not include a blue thong, and sorry to disappoint you.
Thank God.
We can discuss that later. But my bandwagon jump that I knew it was coming, and I hoped that the rumor was false, but I was 20 years old, and I was pessimistic at the time. But when I heard that KISS was going to record a Diane Warren song and release it on the Detroit Rock City album, I hoped that the rumor was false. No, don't tell me they're jumping on the Aerosmith bandwagon of recording a power ballad, because they saw the success that Aerosmith had in '98 with the song they recorded for the Armageddon soundtrack, and they thought they could duplicate that. Julian's looking up something, and I hoped it was false, and we all know it wasn't. And I had a bad attitude about it the first time I heard. Before I even listened to it, I had a bad attitude about it, and then I listened to it, and I had an even worse attitude about it. And it's not even as good as the Aerosmith song either. And I'm not saying I'm a fan of the Aerosmith song, but it's not even in the same league as that Aerosmith song. And for the Detroit Rock City soundtrack, it doesn't fit on it. Yeah, we're gonna record this Diane Warren song, and then you know where we're gonna play it? We're gonna play it in the credits, because that's where you want your new song at, is in the credits. That's where it's the most memorable. So
didn't Paul have to fight for that too? I remember reading it in his book.
That song.
There you go.
Thank you, Julian.
Oh, God.
Well, that's as much a KISS song as, that's Paul Stanley. There's nobody else from KISS on that song.
Nothing can keep me from puking on you. I fucking despise that song. Can I make that any clearer?
And then they throw it on KISS 40 last year. I'm like, really? We're throwing this on KISS 40? You're trying to celebrate 40 years of the band, and you throw me this pile of shit on there?
I was surprised Starship covered it. I didn't even know how they knew about it.
Who covered it?
You know that.
Starship.
Did they?
Like, yeah, like, without this city. Yeah, they covered it like a year or two ago.
Oh my! Did they even know, or was it another hide your heart situation?
It's probably a hide your heart situation.
What about Detroit Rock City, the movie? That's a bandwagon jump because they're trying to do Dazed and Confused, pretty much.
A day in the life type of movie.
Or I Want to Hold Your Hand, which the Beatles movie, just with Kiss inserted into it.
Except for Dazed and Confused is kind of a cult classic now, and Detroit Rock Shitty is still shitty. You know, can't stand that movie. Do not like it.
It's not so bad if you, like I said, it didn't know what its audience was because Kiss fans
didn't know what its script or plot was.
I can tell you what the audience was. I walked in the theater the night it came out, and there were like 5 people in there. That's what the audience was.
It was depressing when you think back to all the hype that surrounded. It was like 1978 all over again. Yes, it was like 1978 all over again in terms of overexposure, poor business decisions, shitty plots, and made-for-TV movies that should never have been in the cinema. I mean, I just don't see how Kiss could ever do a movie that would be worthwhile. And it's not going to be art. We know that. I don't think anyone would expect it to be. Something that you go to con to see.
The only thing they could do would be a documentary movie with actors playing them. That could have potential to be good if it was put together well.
Yeah, I just cringe at that because the one that pops into my head is that god-awful Def Leppard one that they did with actors. Which was just,
I just think of that movie with Mark Wahlberg in a way.
What, Rockstar?
Yeah, I just think of like a crappy film like that.
That at least had Jennifer Aniston in it.
That is
had some visual.
Isn't Lick It Up on the soundtrack of that album?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the angry English lady. So can't go wrong with that.
Well, since we're in 1999, why don't we just jump forward to 2003, Kiss Symphony, Alive 4.
That's a great one.
And according to Kiss, never before had a rock band and a symphony come together to do a show. If you watch their interviews, they sell you this idea as if you've never heard of it before, as if you would have no clue. Yeah,
the Metallica album had only been out about 4 years at that point.
Yes, and the Metallica album had at least been done with was that Michael Kamen? Who I think it might have been.
I mean, I'll give Kiss credit because I got an email a while back that I guess Chicago just did a symphony with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, so they're behind by like 12 years on that bandwagon. So I'll give Kiss a little credit there.
Right, but they're Chicago, which
true.
Kind of lends itself a bit more to a symphonic production. And when we get back to Kiss being, Metallica had obviously done it. Deep Purple had done it. I don't know who else.
Meatloaf did it with the
Scorpions did it too.
Yeah, and shit. Yeah.
What about Psycho Circus?
What do you think of that Scorpions?
What can you think of anything they were jumping onto for Psycho Circus? I mean, ICP came out and claimed that they stole the whole thing from them, but
but ICP stole it from Kiss.
Where did Kiss jump the bandwagon with Psycho Circus? Trying to rewrite the album cover. Trying to write another space song for Ace, like Rocket Ride. Trying to write the symphonic anthemic song like 20,000 Years.
I don't really consider those bandwagons. I consider those elements, stylistic and creative elements that you kind of want to weigh on. So I don't see any major bandwagons on there except maybe the tour, and that's taking a circus out with your concert tour. Obviously it never got past Dodger Stadium, but and tying it into comics, that's kind of the bandwagon.
Real quick, Julian, you were at that Dodger show, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
How was that circus effect? Was it cool, or were you just like, what the crap's going on?
It was.
Turn my light on real quick. Go ahead.
It was idiotic as far as I was concerned, but I was in such shitty seats at Dodger Stadium that I could barely see. All I really recall of that were some of the acrobats spinning around. I'm like, that's it? And I think there was a ball of death and a motorcycle in it. That's all I recall. I mean, I was so far back. I was in hell. I was in Dodger Stadium, but not a whole lot of memories.
The cover of Psycho Circus was, I don't know if you guys have this or saw this or not, but Ozzy
Could have been so much better.
Well, yeah, well, that's a topic for another show too about bad album covers. But Ozzy put out an album about '97 for like Ozfest. It had a vernacular cover like that where you kind of moved it one way and you could see the crowd, and you moved it another way, you couldn't see the crowd, and Ozzy had his arms up in one side and down in another. And then 2 years later, KISS came out with an album with the same concept in that too, which was the first thing I thought of when I saw that Psycho Circus was going to be like that was this Ozfest like promotional album that came out a year and a half before that, which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Everyone on their dog did. I mean, Ace did that with his Greatest Hits Live album. One version came with...
Yeah, that's true.
And I think he did it again, didn't he? With, wasn't there... I don't know. Can't remember. Have another sip of beer.
Now, you were talking earlier about KISS jumping on the KISS bandwagon. The first thing that pops into my head when I hear that is Sonic Boom. Because they're playing KISS. Sonic Boom, and to a lesser extent Monster, but Sonic Boom is them trying to jump on the bandwagon of Rock and Roll Over.
Right down. I mean, right down to the artist. I agree.
Song. They gotta have a Catman song, and even though, as much as I like those songs, I can't imagine Tommy sitting in the studio recording these songs, about the spaceman. It gets tired even when Ace does it. Space Invader. It was like, all right, we get it. You're from space. It would be so cool to have Tommy do a ballad or something different. But just, and even the cover of Sonic Boom is just copying Rock and Roll Over, and not as well, in my opinion.
Well, I think that's a very valid point with Sonic Boom, because even a lot of interviews and press releases, people were saying, well, this is the album that should have came out in 1978. Like, just disregarding everything that came out between 78 and 2009. Kind of like a horror movie that like reboots or something, or picks up like after the third one and forgetting about what happened in between or something like that. I think that's a really excellent point about in the bandwagon jumping of, well, we need to have the Spaceman sing a certain song on not only Sonic Boom but on Monster 2. We got to have him sing a certain song, and the Catman's got to sing a kind of
out in the streets,
a gritty on the streets type of rocking tune. Yeah. Also, we won't make Eric sing a ballad, but he has to sing a song like sing it like Peter would sing it type of song even.
Yeah.
You listen to both Eric songs. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like both Eric songs on Sonic Boom and Monster, but there's definitely Julian does not, and there's definitely a formula to it at the same time that we have to do things a certain way off, because it has to follow this formula and this progression off of, like you said, KISS jumping on their own bandwagon.
I'd rather Eric did a ballad.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, I'd rather Eric did what Eric wanted. I don't know.
Eric should just sing Beth again, because then you'd have all three drummers and their own versions of the song. What? So we're still waiting on that one.
No.
I hope not.
No.
Now, what about the thing that they did last year in Japan? That was obviously to sell tickets to their shows, because after they left Japan, you never heard about that song again. They never talked about it again. But for that month and a half or whatever it was, that was the only thing that KISS wanted you to know about, was they were performing, and they did a new song with this girl group that I can't even remember the name of now. Momo Clover Z.
Momo Clover. But yet, but yet we are about to get Scooby-Dooed, and no one even knows the frickin' song that they perform on that.
that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, so here we are about to get, I mean, we're less than a month out from the release of that straight to DVD Scooby-Doo crap. And no one seems to have any information on that, whereas the stuff with the Japanese girls, obviously it was for the market, and they are massive out there, and they have so many parallels with the band. You just couldn't get away from that song. You know, I'm really surprised KISS didn't keep that song in the set list.
I think that whole lip syncing thing, I think, scared them, because it really came back to bite them in the butt because of all the things that Gene said, a year or two before, and
what lip syncing?
When
Paul did the song in Japan,
first night they did it, they had that backing track.
The first night, yeah. But
Julian's being evil.
Have another beer.
But the sad thing is that when they did it on that TV show, he did it live, but it was just awful. So it's like, you got to pick your poison on that one.
Yeah, never write or record songs that you can't sing. I mean, that's kind of a lesson. Don't hop on the bandwagon if you can't kind of stay on the wagon.
And obviously the most obvious bandwagon jump that surprised we haven't got to is I Was Made for Loving You. I mean, that in Dynasty in and of itself.
I don't think that's a bandwagon. You know, I kind of accept Paul's explanation of that song of I went to the disco and I kind of figured out every song was like this number of beats. I said, I can write that song. You know, I kind of see that as a personal challenge rather than trying to be disco. That's him saying, can I do this? I want to write in this style. You know, do something different. So I take his explanation. I think it's probably, it seems to me plausible, honest. You know, it's not Mythbusters here. So, yeah, plausible.
What about Dynasty and Unmasked? Like the look and the sound of those albums. Yeah.
I think that was big for some of the era. The clothing.
You know, I think that they were getting caught up with themselves more than anything, and as far as the look and the comic book hero type of image and the audience that they were
solo albums
and the audience that they were appealing to at the time, with the younger audience coming to see the shows in '79, that they were feeding into the younger audience they were seeing, and you know, that's who was coming to see him, and that's who they were catering to. One I got that was really popular in the mid '90s. This was back when MTV actually played music, and that was when MTV had MTV Unplugged on. It was on all the time. You know, we've seen obviously the Nirvana one and Alice in Chains, and there's quite a few of them. And KISS got invited to do theirs, and obviously we know what happened on the show. But aside from Ace and Peter coming out on at the end, I mean, we all can agree that KISS Unplugged is probably my second favorite live recording of the band outside of a live one.
Yep.
The band just sounds as tight and as crisp and as polished as ever, and set list on that obviously is just incredible.
They weren't afraid to take chances on Unplugged.
Absolutely not.
If they were to do that now, they would do all the standard songs you'd expect from the very beginning.
They didn't take any. I disagree. I don't think they took any chances whatsoever. It's at the end of the convention tour. They had road tested every single one of those songs on it, so they knew what worked, and it was absolutely outstanding. So while I don't think it was a risk, I disagree with you on that. I think their choices were absolutely perfection.
Well, as a listener, if you didn't go to the convention tour, you'd have no idea that they were going to play Coming Home. With the YouTube generation, obviously now you know far in advance, but back then, all those songs were brand new.
Yeah, but they knew what resonated with the audience, and they also knew what resonated with themselves in that environment. So,
and what a great sampler too, because you get a song off of each album up until Creatures minus Unmasked. You got a song off each of the studio album, even in the solo album song too. So what a great mix.
Well, that's where the symphony fell short, because they could have done the same thing with that, but they kind of went back to familiar territory. They were afraid. They could have taken a lot of cool chances on the symphony.
Totally, and that's where it fails.
Really, they could have done an Elder or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I remember when they played the show in for the symphony in Australia, and running back to my computer to try to see the set list, and I was just seeing what they played. I was just like, really? Okay, Detroit Rock City, that's Up Destroyer. Okay, King of the Nighttime World, okay, that's Up Destroyer. Do You Love Me? That's Up Destroyer. God of Thunder, that's Up Destroyer. Can we play another song that's not off a Destroyer for this? I mean, you have, I don't know, set list is a discussion for another show too, but I mean, you play the same songs all the time, but...
Isn't there a part of the symphony where Peter sings Beth at the very beginning of Act 2, and Paul comes out and says something like, I'm paraphrasing, now the fun starts. Yeah, I mean, that to me is almost like, all right, we got Beth out of the way, now we can actually do the real show. To me, that always sounded kind of snide, and now that we know what Paul and Peter's relationship was like...
Paul wasn't real happy Peter was there to begin with. So.
Yeah, true.
I gotta say this for the symphony show. Biggest disappointment is just when they go, who here owns the Elder, and you see them raising their hands to Tommy, and you're going like, okay, so this is where you guys should have thrown out an Elder song if you were going to do one.
Yeah. I mean, Great Expectations was really the only way out there that they took, and they had to go back into the studio and redub that completely, because originally it sounded like crap. I'd like to get the unedited symphony concert, because they did a lot of redubs on that. And I remember hearing it way back when, but I haven't been able to track down any audio that wasn't the official version, because there were a lot of changes that they made to that too.
Yeah, I remember comparing it for one of the books, and now I've got to go back and listen to it. I've only got it as an MP3. I'm going to have to listen to that.
I know for a fact, I remember that the beginning of Detroit Rock City, when Paul does this, woohoo, the original version was a lot lower, I remember, because I heard that version first. Then when I heard the official version, they had pitched up the woo to make it sound way, way higher than it actually was.
Yeah, and they moved around a lot of the dialogue as well, so that's what I remember off the top of my head. But I got to listen to Great Expectations.
They listen to it. Go ahead, Alex.
They did a little bit of Here Comes the Sun before Shandy, too.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's a big deal.
So...
Is that it?
We got any other bandwagon jumps? I think we've kind of gone...
There's probably quite a lot more, I mean, if we were to go visually, but, we would be here a week and a day.
Yeah. One obvious one that we missed was the 80s, and Crazy Crazy Nights wanting to be like Bon Jovi and wanting to be like Def Leppard at the time, and the sound on Crazy Nights really resonates with what was popular with those bands at the time, and they were definitely chasing.
But the 80s are a staircase of bandwagons. I mean, 85, Asylum, who are they trying to be? Rat, Invasion of Your Privacy, or Twisted Sister, 84, who are they trying to be? 83, trying to be Judas Priest, or
Van Halen with a hot shot guitarist like Mark St. John, just bringing in a shredder for the Eddie Van Halen type.
So I guess we could come up with anything and anything for those albums visually, but musically, I would say that they're still pretty honest albums. It's just the visuals that are really trying to, and that's just a band that's lost, because obviously they'd spent 10 years in makeup and costumes, so they didn't know what they were.
Right, and they didn't know what they were, and that's before Revenge came out, and they finally figured out what they're supposed to be doing and what they're supposed to be looking like. Thank you, Julian. That's an excellent one.
I guess maybe for those who listen to this on the message board and stuff, share with us what you think was the bandwagon jump.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think is the best bandwagon that they jumped on most successfully? What's the biggest one that they missed? Or what's the one they did worst?
Kiss Meets the Phantom. They're trying to do A Hard Day's Night. I mean, I don't know if that could be exactly the same thing, but they're like, the Beatles had a movie, we gotta have a movie.
Well, and it's a Coin wanting to broaden them into television too at the same time, and Coin seeing his vision of them, with comic books and then into movies and just making them more than just a band.
Let's take Star Wars and A Hard Day's Night and throw it in a blender.
And we were like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, all the Scooby-Doo parallels over all the years, because Kiss Meets the Phantom is nothing but a Scooby-Doo episode. Then you got the Disc Demon from the Scooby-Doo show. Then you got that Kiss episode they did in, like, 2002, the Halloween show. And now, 2015...
It's all going to come full circle in about a month.
They're teaming up with Scooby-Doo again, At least I'd like to see them with the Flintstones or the Jetsons or something. We've seen enough Scooby-Doo. They did the WWE versus the Flintstones. I would have liked to see Kiss on the Flintstones. I think they come up with real creative names for them, too. Hanna-Barbera, you can't get away from them.
After you've done The Family Guy and, Fairly Odd Parents, what else is there still for them to really ruin?
Speaking of The Family Guy, this is kind of an off-topic, but they were promoting that Family Guy Kiss stuff. I've never seen that anywhere, except online. I've never seen that available in Hot Topic, Spencer's, or anything.
When I was in LA a couple weeks ago, we were walking through Venice Beach, and I saw a Family Guy Kiss t-shirt, actually.
Really?
For sale. I had a little shop in Venice Beach. I was quite surprised. My wife told me I should buy it, and I said, no, it's just embarrassing. I'm not going to buy it.
As far as I remember, I thought they were going to do action figures, too, of, like, Peter and the Gene makeup and all that stuff, but I never... That seemed to me like a logical thing to do. But who knows?
Yeah, they had the ornaments last year, actually.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else, guys, before we wrap up?
I don't have any more beer here.
Julian's out of beer, and I'm a little thirsty myself, so we're going to call it a night here. Thank you, everyone who is still listening, for listening, and we look forward to hearing your comments. I want to hear comments on the YouTube page or on the board itself. So, for Julian, for Alex, for Nigel, I am Lonnie, stlkiss on the board. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. You stay classy, Kiss Army.